this.
Rabbi Dolphin, we're on 393. Kitzer.
No, we did it yesterday, but I'll do it anyway. Kitzer. B'chol echad b'Yisrael, every single yid, yesh boy ha'toikiv the chokhmah. He has the koyach, the potency, the strength of the level of ma, of chokhmah, because chokhmah is comprised of two words, koyach, ma. So the ma is shebenefesh, that's the higher part of chokhmah, the one that's connected to keser. And because every Jew has that koyach, every Jew is able to water the river of Shittim. Someone who's been caught in the web of the Yetzer Hara, and that's pretty relevant today. Needs to arouse this taikif. So here's the answer. You said the other day. How can we get out of the issue? So the Rashab says, if someone's caught in the web of the Yetzer Hara, today's internet web, he has to arouse the koyach hanefesh. He has to arouse the chokhmah shebenefesh. It's not enough he has to arouse that koyach, and that koyach will schlep him out of the tumah, or the issues. And therefore it gives him the koyach to do, in actuality, the opposite of the natural tendencies of and that will refine his coarse character. And he'll conduct himself based on das the kedusha, and from there he could go and consider das the kedusha. Okay, let's turn now to 397, the Kitzurim. Mafteach, Kuntres Umaayan, Ubay Chof Ches Maamar. We just there.
This is like a summary of the Kitzurim.
Yes, no, not of the Kitzurim. It's a summary of the Maamar.
Yeah, okay, but like listing of similar to the Kitzurim at the end of each one.
Well, you'll have it.
We summarized each parak, okay.
Yeah, and you'll be able to tell soon whether it is that way or not. But let's look at it. Okay, Maamar Aleph. In the first Maamar, there were 4 chapters. What did it basically discuss? Hatiyah mederech emes ishtus. The going astray from the way of Torah is foolishness, ishtus. We also discussed in these Maamarim, these 4 Maamarim over there, kama b'chinas b'tainuk, various levels of pleasure, right? From music to character to talents and all kinds of things like that. Ha'adam b'chira nevrayim, man, which is the choicest of creatures, olav lisanik, he should have pleasure rak b'mashel amayla mimenu, only with what's above himself, not what's below. You understand? An animal, which isn't the choicest of creatures, of domains, can have pleasure in in something that's below itself, i.e., grass. It eats grass and whatever else, and tears apart, if it's a bad-natured animal, other animals, right? But man, who is B'chir HaNivroim, Olav Lisanik, he should have pleasure, Rak, only B'mashal HaMayla Mimenu. So the rule is a very important rule. Man should always seek what's above him and greater, what's beyond you. If a person wants to know, am I growing? The answer is, what are you seeking and doing in your life now? If it's just what you're used to and what's below you, you're not growing. You're staying stagnant the most, or you're actually falling. But if you're going for what's above you, that shows that you're growing. Yes, Moshe.
Yeah, did we say yesterday in the shir that the difference between a man and an animal is the man is on 2 feet, but he has the ability to look up, whereas an animal is on 4 feet, always looking down.
Yeah, it wasn't in our share, but it's true, and it's brought in many places. But no, we didn't learn that yesterday.
I heard that yesterday.
Yeah.
I don't. Okay.
Yeah, no, it's a known important nakuda, and that's the same nakuda. That's exactly the same point that the Rebbe is making here. Pchisusai, man's pchitut, pachut, his lowering of himself, im nimshach acher in yonim gashmim, it's if he continues after gashmias. Okay, that was the end of the first Maamar. Maamar 2 by 2 prokim. Chet bedover oser, when we sin with something that's prohibited, al yedei, either toikif nefesh abamis. What causes us to sin? The potency, the strength, the power, overpowering of the animal drive, al yedei ribui taivas heter, caused by indulging in permissible matter. It has 25 hechsherim, I can sleep to 12 a day, I'm on vacation, it's all kosher. He makes a mistake thinking he doesn't separate himself from God's oneness. Says the Rebbe, you're wrong. And he remember the Ramban that says, Kadoshim tiyu, Kadosh atzmecha v'muter loch. So even though it's kosher, if you don't sanctify yourself with something that's permissible, it's according to the Ramban, and the Alter Rebbe rules this way too, and others as well, it's a prohibition violating that pasuk in the Torah, Kadoshim tiyu. The toiv yeloi, and good will be to him, amiti sachayos alikus v'sitra achra. That the toiv yeloi, period. This is part of the mistake, the ta'ut. He says, shetoya she'ena nifrad. Someone makes a mistake and thinks that he's not separated from God, and he'll have good by indulging in permissible manner. Says the Rebbe, this is a bad mistake, and this is how the Yetzer Hara overcomes a person. Rather, Amiti Zachayis, the true vitality is Elikus, is godliness, and the side of holiness. Third Maamar, Maamar Gimel, 3 chapters, Gimel Prokim. In the realm of holiness, the energy of Hashem is revealed. Conversely, B'sitra Achra, in the negative side, who b'chinas golus, the energy of Hashem is in exile. V'lochein nikras avodah zara. That's why we call it avodah zara. Avodah zara literally means idolatry. Why do we call yoni sitra achra, negative energy, avodah zara? Why? Because it's foreign to godliness. Avodah means a service. Zara, which is foreign. It's a foreign service to godly energy. And these forces and these energies are separated from God's oneness. The Rebbe brought from Tanya, is brought in I think chapter 22 as well, that when man sings, he's much worse than an animal. Than here in this case, than the klippa and sitra achra. Why? Because they're doing what God gave them their mission to do, to get us into trouble, to test us and all that. But man was not given for that purpose, and when man sins, he's doing much worse. Next, Maamar Dalet. He repeats, through the sin, the man is completely separated from Hashem, even lower than the negative energy. And you make what's called a pagam, a blemish, a stain. You're walking out with a stain, a ketchup, a coffee on your shirt. You look like a slob. It's disgusting. You haven't showered in 4 days. So how is it that a normal person would do this? The answer is you became cuckoo because you allowed the shtus. Your shtus is convoluting you and making you nuts and convincing you, and all of a sudden you think you're clean and you're normal, and really you smell and you're not. Maamar Hey, the 5th Maamar, Uboy Gimel Prokim, 3 chapters. Yes.
Is this the reason why the Lubavitcher Rebbe was always dressed like impeccably? Like he was always dressed very.
The Rebbe, it's a dinner shulchan aruch. It's I had a Rebbe. I told you when I go up to him, and I had a little dandruff. He would give me a steer, and he would say "no," like "no," And I was clean, but you know what I'm saying? I wasn't perfect. The Rebbe, I don't know if it was a perfectionist, but it's basic halacha, it's basic Rambam. Look into the Rambam, Hilchos Deos, he speaks about, cleanliness and all of that. To say that this is the reason, I don't know if this is the reason, but it definitely is part of the whole picture. Let's continue. Hey, the fifth Maamar, Hatayna Shatoiv Yeloi. So comes along the Yetzer Hara and says to the person, hey, what do you care about what's going to be tomorrow? Right now, it's going to be good. You'll feel good. Hurak mepitu hayetzer. It's only coming from the Yetzer Hara. Perush hakosov. And in the fifth Maamar, Moshe, that's where the Rashab introduced the pasuk in Parshas Dvarim, V'hizbarich bilvavoi, you will bless yourself and say, it's good, I'm shalom yili, I got peace, it feels good just to live a merry day. Like I told you, my father's Yiddish expression probably brought from the tunnels of Romania and Bukovina, erlebt, or lept, as the Hungarians and other cultures say, erlebt, achazes shetog. He lives a piggish day. Excuse the expression. He lives like a chazer, In other words, he lives it up. He just does what he wants. So the Rebbe says, that's the posik. V'isbarich bilvavei. It's a posik. It didn't begin in Romania. It began in the Torah. V'isbarich bilvavei. Ki b'shridus libi yelech. I will go based according to the dictates of my heart. And if my heart dictates to be a wild animal and a disgusting guy, I'll do that, etc. Then he says, Malchus nikras hey. Chevra, you remember, he said that there's the hey of hat sameya. Hey tsameya. The hey, the Malchus, the element of kingship and royalty is thirsty. L'yotzre, it wants to get back to God. It's not. It's thirsty. Aleph liikola biksharsha. The first thing is thirsty to be reunited with its source, and beis with negoidla yerida. Even if it weren't, the first point is to go back because it wants to reconnect, right, to its source. I want to be with my mommy. I want to be with my teacher. I want to be with my wife. I want to be with my Rebbe, my friends, right? What are you doing? I need this now. I'm sorry. Thank you. And number two is Goydla Yerida. There is a great Yerida. There's a great descent, and the great descent is such that it feels dry. It feels empty. What are you doing? I said I need it. No, I need it. My phone is dead. Okay, let's continue. Maamar, next page, 399. Gam haneshama nikras hatzmeya. Also, the soul is called hatzmeya. It's thirsty. Yiridosa b'shvilo aliyah shenase al yidei zeh. The yerida, the soul coming into this world is called the yerida. It ain't a lot of fun here. We got challenges. We got, issues. What's the reason it comes? We know the rule. Quote, Yeridasa b'shvilo aliyah. The yerida is for the purpose of the aliyah. Shenasa idezeh. That happens. Siyum. Pirush hakosuf. Now the end of the pasuk is harava v'hatzmeya. Harava means the one that's satiated. Who is satiated? Who is satiated? Nefesh habamis. What is it satiated with, Yonason? Shtuyot. Nonsense. It's full of nonsense. It's satiated with that, right? And then we have esatzmeya, nefesh elikis, the godly soul, the tzmeya. Lo yova Hashem musleach lo yisila karotzen. Hashem says, if that's your attitude, you feel full, I'm not going to forgive you. Sila karotzen, removal of rotzen. My friends, if we don't feel we're lacking something, we never will progress. It's very unhealthy to feel stuffed and filled and complete. You have to feel not rova, satiated, you have to feel tzmeya. Tzoma lecho nafshi, koma lecho besori, b'yeretz tziyah, v'yoyev belimoyim. When you feel that there's no water, and you're thirsty, and you're tired, then you can grow. And we say the interpretation of the Baal Shem Tov, the holy Baal Shem Tov. Kein b'kodesh chazi sicho lirois uscho chavaydecho. Literally meaning, so in holiness I should see you. Comes the holy Baal Shem Tov interprets the Cain, halavai. Not so. Oh, I wish. Oh, I wish when Mashiach will come and we're going to be together in the Beis HaMikdash in Yerushalayim. And it's going to be great. And we'll bring sacrifices and daven and learn. No more jealousy, no more greed. And delicacies will be found all over. Oh, I'm missing the thirst. I'm missing the ayef. So the Baal Shem Tov says, halavai. When Mashiach will come, I will have the same feelings of tzoma lecho nafshi, kama lecho besari. There's nothing like feeling that you are missing something. I repeat what the Frierdiker Rebbe said, and I heard this from the Rebbe, that he said, my father-in-law said he always was in debt, and he wanted to be in debt. Who wants to be in debt? The answer is, when you're in debt, you get off your loins and you look for the money to pay your debtors. You understand? Something has to make you move. Otherwise, you see, you can become complacent. Okay? So, the fact, just for a moment, the fact that we're in a situation of lockdown and COVID and all that, it should go away immediately. However, there's a positive flip side to it. So it makes you, I want to get together with everyone in shul. I'm sick of these Zoom things, It's like, another Zoom, So there's a strong thirst, and you cherish that thirst. Okay, let's continue. 399. Second part, Maimaz Vav. Maimaz Zayin. Klippers v'sitra achra mekable me'acharayim. The klippers and sitra achra, where do they receive from? The backside, called acharayim. U'kaman v'shode basar kaspe. This is similar to someone who throws something behind his back. He says, here, doggy, take the bone. Here, take it. Boop. He doesn't even look at you. I don't know if you could say, Trump didn't want to look at Biden, so he left him a note on his desk. It's like he was so disgusted with him. He says, okay, here, I gotta say something, so he says, here, I'll leave it on the desk. Anyway, Torah mitzvahs Yisrael, we also learned that Torah mitzvahs and Yidden mipnimis haratzon. It comes from the inner will of God. Hachoyte v'sinner rak lefisha efshe sheyikabel me'acharayim. It's only temporarily that he can get from the other side. And it has to be that it's going to end. Now remember this Nakuda. You can't get away with it. You could think you can get away with it tomorrow, and you'll get away with it the next day. At the end, it's going to all come falling down, crumbling, and we see this and we know this. You know why? Because a Yid's connected to Pnimius, to Emes, and Shtus, and lies, and all the nonsense is not who we are deep down. Therefore, if we temporarily convince ourselves to go in that way, get ready for a big tumble. That's what the Rebbe says. Okay? It's just a matter of time. Next Maamar Ches. There are two ways how the negative energies attain nourishment to sustain themselves. One, what we call Michitzonis Makav Eli, from the external of the supernal Makif. That's one level. Shalamayla Michochma Nikas Cheshben, which is above Chochma. Chochma's called accountability. Maamar test we learned, Koyach HaChochma Belubish Bikli. The Koyach HaChochma is invested in a vessel. Rotzen, I have my grandchildren here, as you can see, Baruch Hashem from Florida, so I hope you all appreciate it as I do. Anyway, Rotzen Koyach She'ein Le Kli Miyuchad. We also learned, Varley, could you keep them quiet, please? Rotzen, willpower is the power that doesn't have a specific vessel, a specific domain. Willpower. Al derech zeh seder ishtalshelus. When we talk about the progressive descent of the energy from Hashem, which is called in the language of Chassidus, Seder Hishtalshelus, or Pnimi. When we talk about an inner light, we mean B'cheshben uvakvola. It's limited to the situation and to the vessel that's made for the situation. Hatam al zeh, the reason is, L'maylam Seder Hishtalshelus, or Makiv, B'li cheshben uvakvola. And conversely, the level of Hashem that transcends Hishtalshelus, it's an encompassing light. It doesn't permeate the vessel, Moshe, but yet it also doesn't have limitations. So you have two experiences. You have a limitless experience and you have a limited experience. Each has one that the other doesn't have, so therefore both together are the best of both worlds. What does each have? The Or Pnimi permeates you. You can count on him. Today, tomorrow, you know he's going to be here. I told you once, right? The tree is rooted. It's boring. It ain't moving, but it's there. And you can count on it. Then if you need some shade, you got a tree. But the bird soars. Wow, it soars right, left, flies here. It's great. But it can be blown away and you don't see it again. So you have the type of energy that's more like the bird soaring, which is the makif. It's not in a pnimius, it's not integrated and permeated in man. And then there is the pnimi, or the type of energy which does invest itself in man in a detailed way. It has a vessel, it has a home. Let's continue. Yud. Pirush HaKosov, Shalom Yeli. So we learned the pasuk, peace will be to me ki. Nasiya's time, ki is a reason. Why? B'shrius li b'yelech. You know why I have peace? Because I'm going in my merry way. Shikabel makiv b'ligvul. Because I'm getting from the encompassing energy without limitations. I'm getting a lot. Indulgence. Le'yov Hashem l'sleichla. So the Torah says Hashem won't forgive you. Because we Jews, by our DNA, were made to receive from Pnimius. Shorsham b'Pnimius HaMakif. Now, I just want to say, this is why people feel unhappy. This is part of the reason, or maybe the reason. You know why we're unhappy sometimes? Because we're looking for other experiences that are foreign to us. It doesn't talk to us. We are made of pnimius. We have a neshama. So, give it all the gashmis in the world, it will still be unhappy. But when a yid connects with pnimius, even a little pnimius, there's happiness right away. Because it's who you are. I always say, standing on the street at a bus corner in Yerushalayim, I remember once I just started to dance because I just realized, wait a minute, I'm surrounded by all these Yidden, and it's Yerushalayim. I'm so happy. I would never do it here. And Borough Park, has 350 to 500 shuls with 250 Hasidim and all that, and it's very nice. But it's not the stones of Yerushalayim can't be beat. Sorry, it ain't gonna happen. Okay, Yellowstone is wonderful. Muir Woods is great. And all the other great places that America and other parts of the country have, which is nature, Hashem's Teva, it's all great. But it's not Yerushalayim. One stone in Yerushalayim is worth more than all of that, as far as I'm concerned.
You're not getting much argument from this crowd.
I'm not looking for, I'm just talking out loud. So, that's the Pneumius. I was in Yerushalayim many times, but once in a while, you become cognizant. You know where I am? I'm standing on a stone in Yerushalayim. Wow. I'm so happy. You wake up. You wake up. But the Rebbe is saying over here that a Yid wakes up when he has Pneumius. You don't wake up when you have Chitzonius. And that's why people are unhappy. Because they're pursuing Chitzonius. And I don't mean necessarily in the worst way, in a terrible way, but even in a way that's, what do you have after all? What do you have? You have only Chitzonius. So you have lots of money. You have lots of houses. You have lots of yachts. And you have, so what? So what? That's the way it is. Let's continue. Okay? Now we say,
take it with you.
What?
You can't take it with you.
No, you don't take it with you. That's for sure. But that you don't take with you in Yerushalayim either, Gashmias, but you have the Ruchnias. The Ruchnias is what you take with you. That's what we have. The tzedakah that we give, that's ours. No one can take that away. The Ma'asem Tovim that we do is ours. Next Maamar Yudal, bottom of page 3099 going on to 400. By having an inner scream, an inner shout, an inner call. If you touch the inner aspect of the makiv, next page. A Jew can't get from there, and he's forced to do tshuva. And the fact that the Jew says, well, I'm so happy, it's from the pitu hayetzer. It's from the inconvincing of the yetzer. Maimon Yud Beis, hapitu, the convincing shloi yirena adam einoi. No one sees me. Do whatever you want, says the Rebbe. Einoi, it's not true. Ki sof sof tigale charpose b'kol. At the end, your cherpa, your shanda, your shame will be revealed b'kol. And, Nebuch, it's happened to our own brothers and sisters where they, it comes out. So remember, don't say you can hide. Next Maamar. Someone justifies his sin doing. Another argument. I'm hot-blooded. I'm type A. I'm ba-ba-ba-ba. I was raised this way. I was, my parents and grandparents and my rabbi was a cheater, and therefore my community were cheaters, and therefore I am a cheater. Says the Rebbe Toya, you're mistaken, my friend. The load is based on the animal who can carry the load. You have a godly soul that transcends. You're right. You had a hard childhood. It's true. The previous Rebbe in his manual of education, that he wrote very important principles of education, Klali Achinuch V'Hadracha, which maybe we should learn. One of the future learners we should learn that. I think that's a good thing to learn. It just hit me. See, you speak, and it comes Klali Achinuch V'Hadracha, but not for now. But we'll have to get the Sefer and learn. It's also both in Hebrew and English. The Chabad Heritage. In Hebrew, it's called Klalei Hachinuch V'Hadracha, the principles of education and mentorship.
Is that the one?
No, that's not the Rebbe Chadakov. It's from the previous Rebbe. I know what you're talking about. No. The Chabad Heritage Series, with all the Maimorim, one side Hebrew, one side English, like the Kuntres volume that we're using, has that. Anyway, so the Rebbe says there that a teacher, an educator, needs to assess where is this student coming from. Was he raised in a large community or a small community? Was he raised in a impoverished home or a middle class or rich, a wealthy home? And those things need to be considered when you want to succeed in education. So I'm just giving that as an example that there is something to be said about where you come from and how you were raised. But nevertheless, at the end of the day, it's not an excuse. The Rebbe is saying that an educator, if he wants to succeed with every student, you understand, he should know the particulars of the student, right? That's true. But here we're talking about from the student's perspective, Avi. From the person's perspective, using that as an excuse that I was raised in such a home, in such a situation, is not healthy. Let's continue. We learned that Hashem gives the neshama an oath, benefishal ikis lashon soveya. Mashbi'in also is associated with the word soveya, satiate. Hashem satiates every single yid with a godly energy, a godly soul. Hataina, the argument, shechaveirei hosisoi. What do you want from me? I had bad friends. My friends convinced me. Sheker, it's a lie. Val tischaber l'rasha. We say in the morning, don't bind yourself to a wicked one. So Mamela, you have the power to discern between someone good and someone bad. Hitzdaktus atzmai, self-justification, goyremes she'ein tshuvasa k'deboyi. It causes that a person won't do tshuva properly. Stop justifying yourself. Next Maamar. Ha'adam bria tichayna. Man is the central creature. Nishtana oifin tziyosei. The manner of his creation was unique. Hatam al zeh, the reason, avodosa b'derech muchama. Because man has to come to God through war, through milchama, meaning through engaging, right? Gam ha'oived, v'leimid, yimtze bi'atzvoi, the person who davens and serves Hashem and learns will find within himself kamen minyon ishtus, all kinds of silly arguments. If he decides to brag, how much I know how to learn and daven, or I'm God's gift to humanity. Such a person is worse than a simple person, because this is the pagam, the blemish of gaiva, of conceit and ego. So next Maamar, hagaiva v'achsokas tov la'atzmo shtus. Having ego and holding of yourself that you're so great is a foolishness. Ki alma uvelomi yizgoer. Gidon shtus. Hachzokas tov la'atzmo. It's foolish to do this, to think this way. L'gabi shtus ha'itzdakos v'shtus aveda. In comparison, the Rebbe discussed in this Maamar that gaiva is so much worse than someone who justifies. There's justification, and that's an issue, and it's not a good thing, but it's still not ego and bragging and boasting and thinking you're the best. That's what he said. Sometimes the Ruach Shtus fools a person and says, you don't have to work very hard. For saying, this is very difficult for you. And therefore, since it's very difficult for you, just relax. All this is a mistake. Next page, 403. Shtus the bali asokim benibu tidosim basics. So then he turns his attention to business people working, and he says it's a foolishness working so hard. It's preventing you from Torah mitzvahs properly. And you forget Hashem because Hashem that's the blessing of God that makes you wealthy. Stiras with my mother Azal, the Rashab brought the contradiction, the seemingly contradictory statements of the sages, regarding man's parnosa, when man is judged about it. Next Maamar. So he reconciled it by introducing the following concept: that the kindness, the chesed that's drawn to you is given first to Malchus Datzilis, your Malchus Datzilis, on Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippurim, in a general way. And then it is kind of refined by the 5 severity powers of Atik Yomim, Shemekabelis Bil-Ila, that you get during the Ila, if you remember we spoke about that, Mischalik Liprotim, and then it's divided into detail, V'nimshech Ha'choisem Shalayikrav Zor, and it's given to you, the Chasima, the Chatima, the conclusion of Nila, Shalayikrav Zor, that no foreigner can reach there. Maimah Yutes, but Yom Kippur and Nimshech Chesed Ruchti Vayidei Slapsus Malchus Atzilus B'Bri Yitzir Asira. On Yom Kippur, Chesed, spiritual Chesed, is given to everyone and it's drawn to the lower levels of Yitzir Asira. Nimshech B'Zechayas Gashmi. Over there, it starts turning into what we call physical vitality. Sheishes Yomim, 6 weeks Ba'Avodah, get out and work. Adam nidem b'chol yoyim. Man is judged daily. Im yumshich lemato ve'ezo inyim. If the blessing that was given to you in your storage house will come into actuality, if it will be realized, realized, actualized, and in what manner? If you remember, we spoke about that a bracha could be only for what? For children and not parnasa. For parnasa and not health, etc. He spoke about that. My mechof, Inyan Hadin, Rosh Hashanah Yekippurim l'Rab Yosel Rab Nosson. He spoke about how to explain the judgment of Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur according to the Rab Yossi and Rab Nosson. My mechof Aleph, Atzilus bein Arech l'Gabe Erev Sof. Atzilus there's no comparison between Atzilus, the world of Atzilus, in comparison to what's higher, the infinity of God. Asiya Matzilis. If you compare Asiya, the world of Asiya, to Atzilus, Aidei Shtalshalus, through the progressive descent, there is some kind of comparison and relationship. L'das Rabbanan b'chesed Atzilus Adnikrav b'Shalom Yekippurim Mushroshim Gam Hashpos Gashmias. According to the Rabbanan, in Chesed Atzilus there is some form of Gashmias. Toshus Bia Das Rabbanan, he explained further that Rabbi Yosef Kol Nivra Kol, next page. And we're finished almost. 405. He said that the beginning and formation of ex nihilo and all that is at that level. The next Maamar of Gimel, Hamazolos Einem Elok Higarzim Yadachaytzev. The constellations are only like a axe in the hand of the chopper. Levush, it's a garment, shall yodei, through it, tis gashim hashpa. The hashpa, the shefa, should be megusham, should become realized and gashmi, so it should be here on earth. Kitzvas hashpa, tluya boifan avodas b'shodesh avra. How much do you get? Very important, this Maamar Chav Daled. It depends on what we do this year. In other words, what's going to happen Rosh Hashanah depends on what we do this year. How much are we going to get Rosh Hashanah in our storage house? How we act this year. Moshel Ma Baal Shem Tov, he brought the Moshel of the Baal Shem Tov. If you work hard throughout the year, it comes the month of accounting and reckoning, and then the owner says, I'm going to give you on loan this amount of money because I see you worked hard and you paid back some, and I trust you. Oh, if so, I want to invest with you more. I'm not invest, in this case, he wants to loan him more. So Hashem says, I will make the hashpah be more begashmis because you did a good job at it this throughout the year. Ein tzav el avodah zarah. He brought an interesting chazal. Chazal says that the word tzav implies idolatry, which is perplexing, and he explained it. And he says the next Maamar, 25, Maamar Chafei, Teva hu elikus hamustim. Nature is godliness in concealment. Ho'esek, business, work, rak levush, is only a garment. Vein sorech limnoya mit Torah mitzvahs, and must not prevent you from Torah mitzvahs. And munas bnei Yisrael atzmis. We also learned in that chapter that the faith that a Jew has is essential. 2 minutes. Shtus de Kedusha, they chetet adas through chetet adas, take of hergish tivi. That gives access to natural senses. Shtus de Luma, we learned about Shtus de Luma there. Finally, Maamar Chav Zayin. But if you act with the potency of your neshama, you will weaken the natural senses, and then you become a vessel, for holiness of the whole, for knowledge of the holy side. Peirush HaKosov, and this is the meaning in the verse, Umaayan Beis Hashem, a wellspring for the house of Hashem, Yotze exits for Hishkas Nachal Shittim, and waters the valley. Maamar Chavches, Teichen Dvorim, HaKuntres. And that, in the last Maamar, the Rebbe Rashab says, I summarized pretty much the Kuntres. So Hillel, what do you say about these Kitzurim? Do they, how do they meet your, you see what they are?
Yeah.
It's different. It's different.
Different, but similar to the Kitzurim.
Yeah, no, but it's
just a little denser.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's even more. It's more Kitzer than the Kitzer was on the Bruckham. So you have the actual Peirik, you have the Kitzer, and then you have a Kitzer on the Kitzer. Chevra, have a great day. We'll see everyone tomorrow, and we'll talk about Tu B'Shvat. Take care.
Tu B'Shvat, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.